think you could do an office job?
Nope, never.
Have you ever done an office job?
Never. And I made a promise to myself that I will never do an office job. It's not an ego thing. And I have nothing against office jobs or people that work a 9 to 5. It's just that I just want to prove to my parents and to the people here that, you can make a living off of being abroad and in an industry that is foreign to Brunei.
Dude, I love that. That's everything I want. Yeah. That's everything I strive for. And that's what I want people to know as well.
But the thing is, you do it here in the country. You show them that there's an industry here. That's something that I can't really do.
I'm trying.
And I wish I could do it.
I'm trying, bro. But I think for what you do, I think you do have to get out. You have to get out there and hustle for it. Yeah. Before we go on,
okay,
Aziz, in your own words, who are you?
Oh, perfect.
And what do you do? Some people know you as Jumble 212. I stumbled across you from your sisters. Your sisters are your biggest fans.
100%.
But in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
Should I look straight at the camera?
Oh, you could. You could.
Hi, I am AZIZ Harun, your local Bruneian boy. I am a singer-songwriter, currently based in Malaysia, and I love singing and sharing my work, which is music.
Yeah.
And fortunate to be here today with Nazri.
Dude, I'm so chuffed to have you here because I've been talking about this podcast for 2 years. Right. All this equipment I bought 2 years ago.
Sweet.
Only recently did Yaya get on my case and she was like, yo, we got to make this happen. I said, oh, okay. So Yaya's my producer for the whole thing. She makes everything work. She pulls everything together. Anas is my tech guy. He's running everything behind the scenes.
Great team.
And 2 years ago, I told myself that my season 1 finale would be AZIZ Harun.
Oh, no.
So this is
you just made that up on the spot, didn't you?
Dude, I promise you, I always told myself I knew who the first 3 episodes were going to be, and I knew my season finale was going to be you.
Thank you so much.
This has been a plan in my head and my heart for so long, and to see this come here, to have you on the couch, to sort of just hang out with the podcast it's genuinely a dream come true. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you, Aziz.
And I appreciate you because you've actually influenced my life quite a bit.
No.
More than people would ever guess. And I don't tell this story to everyone. I think my sisters know.
Really?
Yeah, because I talk to them about it. Because growing up, Nazri, can I call you Nazri? Because I call you Abang.
Yeah,
Nazri,
I know.
Right?
Because I was like, I told the team, I was like, I don't know who's going to call me Abang or Nazri on the podcast.
For the sake of the podcast, I call you Nazri. Is that okay?
You can call me Abang. You can call me, Nazri. You can call me whatever you want, sis. You can call me whatever you want.
So, growing up, I had one brother, and he was just in his own world at that time. Yeah. So we weren't as close as we were supposed to be. But when I met Nazri, close to one of my favorite sister at that time.
At the time.
Yeah, you were a good friend of hers. Still a good friend. So suddenly there's a magician in my life, Suddenly there's this cool guy, a magician in my life. He looks sick. You were a rapper on YouTube back then.
Oh my God.
Right? What was your name? Oh, honestly, I forgot.
Don't.
Please. Sway? Sway.
Oh,
Sway.
Sway. Yeah.
Sway.
Oh, that was
Sway. And you posted your magic tricks online, like your... I remember the rubber band trick by the graffiti
with
wall.
Moko. Yeah,
with Moko. That video.
That random guy we just met on the streets in Melbourne.
Exactly. So and I was a YouTube kid. So because I've never met you. I only heard you through the phone.
Yeah, we would just Skype calls whenever I was there, and you were Skyping with your sisters.
Exactly. So I was watching your videos on YouTube, and I got into magic kind of because of you.
Oh, I had no clue, Aziz.
Yeah, I'm serious.
And it's crazy because the tables turned. Because then when you were making moves, you were inspiring me. True story. I genuinely look up to you as someone who's breaking barriers and breaking walls. I mean, I don't want this podcast to be us just brushing each other's egos, but genuinely, this is true. I've never told you this because I was like, I don't know, how this would make it might be weird for him, But genuinely, when I started seeing you perform overseas in Malaysia, when I started to see you get signed on with Warner, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you because you were one of the first few that sort of made it happen. Hey, we've got talent here. We can say, hey, we're repping Brunei.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the start.
Okay.
How did you get into music? Do you think having such a musically inclined family played a part? Because I know, Sas can sing.
Yes.
Right? Kels can sing.
Yes.
I know Molly played the guitar.
Yes.
We've got your brother who was always your hype man in your videos.
100%.
He was playing the drums. He was
behind the camera.
He was your hype guy, right?
Yeah, he really was.
And then Tar sings as well. And I know your dad used to collect so much musical instruments.
Yes.
Dude, it's so weird how much I know. But do you think that's what started it?
100%. 100%. Because growing up, we were always surrounded by music. My family was always karaokeing in their free time. My sisters, they would bump the loudest rap song or like hip hop R&B tracks in the car, and they'd pick me up from school. So I'd have the influences like from my sister, the R&B music, the hip hop stuff, and then I'd have the Indo, the more old Malay stuff, the Jamal Abdillah from my dad.
Oh yes.
And then Rahim came with the whole emo phase with My Chemical Romance, and then Tawana came with the Indonesian stuff as well, and the YouTube
a lot of
stuff.
like Ran, Kunto Aji, all of those guys.
Exactly. So just growing up, I was surrounded by music, and I never felt the pressure to become a musician because that wasn't part of the plan.
Okay.
It was just something that I was obsessed with. Kel had a guitar. They played the guitar, right?
Yeah. You know, Molly was she taught me how to play the guitar.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
Wow. Shouts to Molly. Kaka Amal. Yeah. There was never the pressure to become a musician or whatnot, but I was always obsessed. It got to the point where I was playing the guitar a lot.
How much is a lot?
I'd take a number 2 and I'd bring the guitar with me. That's how much.
It's upsetting. I
was obsessed with it.
Okay, so I can relate because when I just got into magic, I was probably about 17 or 18.
Right.
And I was obsessed with just being really good with sleight of hand. And I would be with a deck of cards. And there were days where I would just have a deck of cards in my hand, just practicing moves 8 hours in a row.
Without you realizing that you're actually practicing.
Yes, like you're watching TV and your hands are just moving, doing all the moves and stuff like that. I know magicians who have what they call a poop deck. It's a deck of cards specifically that stays in the toilet that they practice with while they poop. So Aziz, I can relate when you say you bring a poop guitar.
No, I haven't done that in a long time, but I just might do it tomorrow morning, right? You never know.
Who knows? What inspiration.
Yeah, Najmi told me magicians have a poop deck, I should have a poop guitar. Yeah, but yeah, that was it. And then the whole Jason Mraz phase, the whole YouTube stuff. When YouTube came about, that meant I could learn the guitar. Not through a teacher, but through videos. So I was super obsessed with Jason Mraz.
Yeah.
So I would pause his videos frame by frame by frame and just learn the chords that he would play.
Really?
Yes. That's what I did.
Aziz.
Yeah.
This is how I used to learn magic as well. I used to slow down David Blaine performance videos frame by frame to sort of see where his hands were, was the deck shifting at a certain point, how did it change, and dude, this is exactly how I started. I was a YouTube I wasn't a YouTube kid, but I was a YouTube older guy, and I did the same thing, Aziz. I had no clue.
Wow, that's crazy. That's exactly the same thing that I did as well.
What was it about Jason Mraz that you were so wow about?
I have no idea, and I wouldn't say it's maybe it was the guitar. That's one. But the first song that I listened from Jason Mraz was "Geek in the Pink." I'm sure you know that song.
Oh yeah,
because you went through the whole scat thing, and the fact that song there was elements of the acoustic guitar. And then it was still kind of hip hop, whatever. Yeah. That was like that cool jazz thing. And I was like, who is this guy? Yeah. Like, what else does he make? What kind of music does he make? And I just went down a spiral, of just Jason Mraz stuff.
He was the guy that made fedoras cool.
Yes.
Right?
But I never wore the fedora. I just want to make that clear right now.
I was
obsessed. You did?
Because of Jason Mraz.
You did?
I did. So bad.
Oh, you need to put up a picture somewhere.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, on that side note as well, on Jason Mraz, that was the first concert I went to in Melbourne that your sister brought me to.
Yes, and do you remember the story?
Oh, now I do.
Do you remember the story?
I regret bringing it up now.
See?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You did this to a 9-year-old boy. A 9-year-old boy that was so
into Jason Mraz.
Over Jason Mraz. And I'd keep their ticket stubs.
You did?
I didn't even go to the concert, but they'd give it to me and I'd be so happy.
Wow.
Because I was like, this is an inch closer to Jason Mraz. Okay, so what this man did back then, he'd get on the phone. My sister would be like, "Oh, let's prank AZIZ, right?"
We were at the concert.
You guys are at the concert.
Because you knew already she was at the concert.
Yes. So she called me. I picked up. And he's like, "Hey, someone wants to talk to you." So it goes something like that.
Yeah.
And then he puts on this accent, like you were this.
Hello, AZIZ.
Yeah, I'm like,
this is Jason, and you're like.
I was stunned. If there was only video call back then, oh my God.
And then I couldn't do it. I couldn't commit.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm so sorry, AZIZ. I can't.
I was like, this is
It's me,
Nasri.
Nasri."
Oh, I was like, no.
I have never heard
I was so
AZIZ.
heartbroken, you know. I can still feel it right now.
You were like, "I hate you,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, AZIZ hates me," and it shattered my core, bro. That broke my heart.
As it should, honestly, as it should.
AZIZ, I would like to publicly and formally apologize.
Thank you so much.
Can we blame it on Molly?
I think we can. We can.
I agree.
Only because I got to meet him in 2017.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah. So have you ever got to meet your like David Blaine or Darren Brown?
I've met David Copperfield.
Right.
I watched Darren Brown live a couple months ago.
I saw that on TikTok.
I didn't get to meet him. It broke my heart. But yeah, I met David Blaine. I've met a few other, magicians who aren't as famous, but they put material out and stuff like that. Right. So yeah. I think sick. Magic's one of those industries where the barrier to meet your idol is a little lower as compared to meeting your favorite actor or musician and stuff like that. Tell me about it, man.
True, but it's still like, I love how it comes full circle, like how we were once obsessed with these people and then, you get obsessed enough and one day you just meet them. I think...
Is it safe to say that you could call yourself peers?
No, I wouldn't say that.
I think you are, man. But okay, go ahead. How did this come about?
So this is 2017 after Jangan, my song Jangan. And I was signed to Warner Music Malaysia. And the MD at that time, Mr. Darren Choi, was like, "We've got a surprise for you. We're going to get you down to Singapore to meet Jason Mraz." And I was like, no way.
How old were you at this time?
I was probably 18, 19. The Jason Mraz phase was gone. It was over. But he was still my idol. Like I still talk to him about this day. I mean, talk about him till this day. Yeah. Sorry. So meeting him, the first thing I said was, "Thank you so much, Jason, for teaching me all my A minor 7 chords, for my D minor 7 chords." Because honestly, that's what he did. He taught me how to play the guitar. So even like, and I flexed to him a bit. I was like, "Yeah, now I'm signed to Warner Music Malaysia." And he was like, far out. Like looking back at it now, I'm quite why did I need to say that? Just say thank you.
Just be like,
just move.
Cute.
Like, cute.
AZIZ. Oh my God. And then what happened? Did you?
No, I just gave him the biggest hug, and then that was it. That's chapter closed. That's the chapter done. Yeah, and I think now it's just time to meet John Mayer. Yeah.
That's another cool guy.
Another cool guy.
Would you say he's one of your inspirations as well?
100%. After the whole Jason Mraz phase, it was John Mayer.
Yeah, I do feel like John Mayer's is you start off in that sort of teen phase with Jason Mraz. He's a little bit more fun.
Yes.
His lyrics are a little bit more catchy, but also like, oh, that was a funny, cool thing to say.
Yep.
And then you kind of, you want to mature a little bit. You want to grow up a little bit. And then the John Mayer stuff comes in. Because if you hear that too early, you're like, what is he singing about? Why is he so sad all the time?
You actually have to go through some things to understand what he's actually saying about. Right? Yeah.
AZIZ.
Like especially slow dancing in a burning room.
Oh, bro,
like,
yes.
It's the lyrics are it's deeper than Jason Mraz's lyrics. It's not as playful. So I went through a John Mayer phase when I was 15, 16. Puppy love and stuff like that. So yeah, it was the perfect time to get into him. Wow. It was cool stuff.
So that's next on I'm a firm believer that I like to vocalize my goals. 100%. Because once I put it out there, it's in the universe. It's
out there.
And you have no choice but to make it happen.
Exactly.
By hook or by crook.
Yeah. Whether you intend for it to happen or not, it's bound to happen.
Have you ever had moments like that where you've sort of vocalized something out and
100%? I used to get dreams of meeting Jason Mraz.
I like how
we had a handshake and everything. I'm exposing myself. No, I'm being serious though. Like, yeah, I'd have dreams about him. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, let's sort of shift a little bit. I know you said just now that there wasn't really any pressure to be a musician. Right? But, because your family is so gifted musically, I really feel like everyone in your family is gifted musically. Was there any pressure to compete with one another, or did it just feel like one big jam session at home?
It never felt like we were competing against one another, but it just felt like a huge jam session, that's one, and just a party at home when we were singing. Because everyone would come to the karaoke machine or the laser discs at that time with their own favorite tracks. So everyone was singing a different thing. So I would be the youngest, I'd be the last to sing, but I'll just, just pick up, this is my dad's favorite song, this is my mom's favorite song, this is what my brother sings, this is what Kakasiti sings, stuff like that. So it was just a huge party, and it just felt natural to just wake up and sing, go into the car on the way to school, listen to music, sing in the car.
You guys like hang around the piano as well?
Yes.
And just...
That's one thing I appreciate from my dad. Okay. One of the many things that I appreciate that he gave to us and taught us was just to be close to one another and then introduce music as a glue to get us together.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Molly once told me that there would always just be new, different instruments in the house.
Yeah.
What could you tell us a little bit about that?
I think that was kind of my fault. Okay, the youngest is always the spoiled one, the favorite one, I might say, and the cutest one.
Okay, so modest too.
Modest is humble. So I would watch videos of people performing on the TV with a band. Okay. And I would flip a chair upside down and I'd say, hey, this is now a drum. You play the drum.
You were bossy.
I was super bossy. I was super bossy. And I'd have one guitar and I'd say, no, I need a bassist. Please get me another guitar. And at this time, it was all toy guitars. But it got to a certain point where I was older and my dad was like, hey, maybe we should get him actual instruments. Yeah, so it was my parents that were the catalyst of this whole musical instruments being in the house. But Tarwana was also a piano player, as in she took lessons. So a piano was then in the house. Wow. Yeah, so I got to learn from her. So I never took lessons. Well, I did. I quit after like a month because it was boring. It was all theater stuff. But yeah, I got to learn from my siblings, and yeah, it's just a blessing to have them. Yeah.
So you're one of, I can't accurately say, or maybe even the only person in Brunei that's signed to Warner Malaysia?
Yes, I was used to. I'm out of the contract now after 4 years.
Okay. Now my question is, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are musicians in Brunei, and they're trying to, learn. They're trying to sort of work that path. And how does someone get signed to a label? Could you share with us your journey? So we know, Home. Yes. Is a big jam studio right 100%. Now. You're still studying. You're learning things off YouTube.
Yep.
But what happened between that and finally getting signed on to Warner Malaysia?
It's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah, hey, we got time. We got time, brother. We got time. But I'm just curious. I think it'd be. Yeah. I think our listeners would sort of appreciate to sort of see the work that goes on to actually getting signed.
Well, times are a lot different now. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was when I sound so old, but it's so true. I was part of a ecosystem where it's much different than it is now, in a way. So YouTube was a thing, was the platform. So I was posting on YouTube as an 8-year-old up until I was 13, 14. It was just to sing for my sisters who were studying abroad. Right?
Yeah, that's I would always see AZIZ just uploaded a new video. Exactly. Let's watch it together. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it was that, and it was just me enjoying performing in front of a camera, sharing that music, and reading the comments, whether it was good or bad. And then an organizer for an event in Bandung reached out, because at this time I started to write originals. It was Peace and Harmony, My Message to Her, all these songs that I was writing when I was 10, 11.
That's so crazy. Did that feel come naturally to you?
All because of Jason Mraz. He made it seem like it was something natural, like a natural thing for someone to do. Wow. You know how to play the guitar, you know chords, go write a song. That's what he kind of said to me, but he never said to me.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt. So I wrote songs, posted them up, people liked them. Rano Adidas was a huge supporter back then. He posted my original songs on his blog. And back then YouTube was the ish.
Yeah.
So I felt the support, and I just kept on going. And this event organizer from Bandung reached out and said, Peace and Harmony, it fits our event. Come. Okay. So I went to Bandung, and there was a representative from every country, Malaysia and everything. So the artist from Malaysia, Amir Jahari, his manager hooked me up in KL.
Wow.
On the transit way back to Brunei. From Bandung, KL, Brunei. And that's when I met Mike Chan, who is now my boss.
Wow.
And he was 24 at that time. I was 14.
Man.
Mad. Yeah, mad.
That's crazy. And then
So Mike was a producer, up and coming producer who just got back from the States. We actually paid him to reproduce Peace and Harmony and Never Gonna Stop. I don't know if you remember those singles.
Dude, it's still on Crystal FM, brother. I get it, man. I get it.
Thank you. So, because Mike was a new producer, and then, I worked with him. He was an amazing guy to work with at that time. I was new, I was young. He was also fairly new. I left back to Brunei with the 2 singles in hand, did whatever I could with the song, didn't think much of it.
Yeah.
And then I get a call 2 years after when I'm 15, 14, right? And he goes, hey, so he's made his way up.
Oh, he's hustling.
He's working with Faizal Tahir at that time, who's also my boss, my mentor. And he's like, hey, I got this song for you. You want to sing? Come down. And it was Senyum. So
what a hit that was, Aziz.
I'm super thankful to him and to the people that, just supported me from all the way back then, from the YouTube days, who made the connections. Shout out to Bazi Damit, my first manager.
Yeah. I was just going to say, yeah.
So he made it happen. Honestly, he helped me a lot. He kept those relationships tight and those people close. Yeah.
So, okay. So now you're working with Faizal Tahir.
Yep.
You're working on Senyum.
Senyum. And this was under Warner, so that's how they signed
Already?
it. Yeah, already. That's it. The first single, Senyum, under Warner.
What's that like, Sis? Like, was it everything like we imagined it to be? When we see on TVs, you get invited to these big offices. Because you were what? You're 14, you're 15?
14, okay.
Like, is it into these big offices in the big meeting rooms with here's your contract.
The marketing team and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
But
so what is it like?
Stupidly at that time, because I was so young, I just wanted to sing. So they just told me, hey, we're going to TV today. We're going to radio today. Sing. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'll sing.
Yeah.
I never really understood how big of a hit Senyum was at that time.
Really?
It was
over there?
Over there, because I never knew anything about the Malaysian music industry. I knew the songs that came from the Malaysian music industry, but I didn't know how it worked, right? Charts, radios, stuff like that. So as a 14-year-old, when someone tells you to sing, I sang. I was that's all I did. But looking back at it now and seeing how hard it is to get a number 1 hit now,
yeah,
let alone a top 10 hit.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you are so lucky. You are so stupid to have not realized what you had back then.
Wow.
It's not that
Do you think that helped those days?
100%.
Do you think it, like, if you were the kind of person that sort of wanted to know how good you are, like, do you think you might have been clouded, or you might have been, do you think any of that would have happened? Or are you always so laser focused?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just telling you now. I'm not laser focused. So yeah, it was a blessing that I didn't really understand what was happening at that time, because I realized I think I would have gone down the wrong path or just have gotten distracted. But yeah, I really enjoyed making music. I really enjoyed being with Mike, being with Bazi, being with Faizal Tahir, and just writing and seeing them work. And I never really understood the business behind it. Only now I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a blessing to have been given that opportunity at such a young age. Yeah.
Also, I think it just showed your characters, is because, yes, you were performing, yes, you were doing what you enjoy, but at the same time, someone was like, hey, go perform. And you just put your head down and you went to work. You know what I mean?
It wasn't work. That's the thing. It wasn't work.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
was never work, because, it's the same thing. Like, sit down in front of the webcam, sing, record, post it on YouTube. It's the exact same thing. That was my mindset back then.
Wow.
Yeah. But things have changed.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, if you're an inspiring artist and if you want to get signed, I guess there are many more platforms now.
Because now if you're good on TikTok, if you got a following on Instagram.
Exactly. Your song is big on TikTok or whatever. But you don't necessarily need a major label at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel
Yep.
any other social media platform can put you in touch with a fan base already, right?
That's all you need. Especially with distributors like DistroKid, like all these independent distributors. You really don't need a major label. But if the opportunity does come, grab it, do it. If you're Bruneian, do it.
Say you were a 15-year-old Aziz now.
Right.
Or maybe even 12-year-old Aziz now.
Okay.
In today's day and age, would you have done everything the same way? Or would you have done something completely different?
See, I don't like regretting or thinking back at things that I should have done differently or whatever, because it's whatever has happened has happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so don't think of it as a regret thing. Think of it if you were Jumble212 on YouTube right now, right? No label, nothing yet, but you do want to get out there. Mm-hmm. How do you think you'd strategize? What would the steps Aziz would take to get where he is today?
I'd do the exact same thing, Nazri. I'm so sorry. I'd do the exact same thing, and it's really just consistency, something that I don't have now.
Really?
No, I really think I lack consistency now. I just think too much, and I'm not as active as I was back then. Because I guess there's just so much in my head right now.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, because I feel consistency is a thing, because you were posting regularly, at least once a week.
Religiously, At
least
without thinking of the numbers, the views. It was just something I enjoyed doing.
And that was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah. You were just genuine, Aziz.
Yes.
And I think that's what transcends, because people can sense it, right? When they're watching something on TikTok, whether they're watching something on YouTube, they can tell when someone's being sincere and genuine. Yeah. I think people don't realize how much that stuff actually translates across the camera.
Exactly.
And I think when people know that you're genuine and when you are consistent putting out material, I think those are two things that really help to sort of boost you to a place that you want to be.
100%.
Yeah. So after working in Malaysia for all these years now, do you see any differences in how people in Malaysia work and how people in Brunei work? Whether it's the procedures, whether it's the standards, because I'm sure you're one of the few people that have had the opportunity to sort of have your feet in both countries and work in both countries, perform in both countries. Yep. So what are some of the differences that they do over there with how people work over here?
I think in Malaysia, because music is an established industry, they have all the right government bodies, all the royalty collectors. It's a proper ecosystem for artists to live. Mm. The fact that we don't really have those government bodies or even such government support within Brunei, it makes it harder for people to actually give their all into their craft. Yeah. Whether it be you working at a studio, at a radio station, there's something in you that believes like, oh, I'm just doing this just because. Yeah. It's
just to get by.
Yeah, just to get by.
Just for that paycheck.
There's no passion in it. There's no sincerity in it to an extent. I'm not saying there's none, but just to an extent, you kind of believe that this is going nowhere in Brunei. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, I know this is probably the harshest thing I've said ever about the music industry in Brunei.
I feel like that about being a magician all the time. I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
It's just, and it's not because I'm angry. I'm just upset. With Malaysia, there is a proper industry. Again, it's a matter of population as well. We're 400,000 people. They have millions over there. Yeah. So, but then again, it goes back to the support from the foundation of the country, of the people in the country. So, because right here, like, this is so funny. Oh, wow, this is proper podcast. Yeah, I'm getting comfortable.
He's getting comfortable now, chilling in that chair.
Because it's funny, like here in Brunei, when I come back, uncles and aunties come up to me and they're like, "Hey, you're back, right? My daughter loves your music, absolutely loves your music, and I love the latest one you put out. Amazing. Wow. So mana kerja."
That's so crazy. How does that make you feel when they ask you that question, Ziz?
In the beginning, it was like a bit upsetting. I was a bit bitter, but now looking back at it, because it's happened many times, it's a bit it saddens me that people think that way here. Like, you can't make a living off of music, off of craft, off of magic, off of something that you want to do that's not in an office.
Yeah. So I've sat down and I've sort of asked myself this question, like, why do people ask these questions, right? Kerja mana now? Or like, are you going to get a real job?
Yeah,
I get that one a lot.
Okay.
And I really think, because usually it's the older people that ask these questions, right? Yes. And I think when, to make myself feel better, and I think it just comes from a place that they're just looking out for us, right?
Yes.
They're from a time or generation where making a living as a musician, making a living as a magician is not something normal.
Yeah.
And I think they just care about you so much that are like, hey, I just want to see your well-being, your a place where you are stable.
Yep.
And to them, an office job, a government job is stable.
Yes.
So I think that's from me obviously
100%.
sitting down with my imaginary therapist, trying to figure out why am I letting it rile me up so much?
Yeah, but it's true, and I agree to a certain extent. Like that's how they are. But then again, it's affecting the young generation as well, because they might think that there's no career outside of a 9-to-5 desk job. So it's putting them at a position where, is it really worth it going out there to pursue my dreams, or should I just do this because they're telling me to do so?
What made you feel like, man, 100%, I'm all in, both feet, ready to go, no looking back?
It's because not a lot of people are given the opportunity that I was given. Put in a place where I am at now, a Bruneian in the Malaysian industry with such track record, if I might say so, and to just give it up, let alone I'm a Bruneian, I'm a foreigner in Malaysia, and Malaysians don't even get this opportunity to work with the people that I'm working with, to be in this industry. And I'm like, why would I give this up?
Yeah.
Why would I ever give that up?
How did mom and dad take it?
Okay, this is
because I know the sisters, your brother, like I bet they were all like all in.
Yeah,
I bet they were super supportive. But I think from parents, it's a whole different thing. And you're the youngest in the family too.
The cutest,
the most humble, most talented.
Yeah.
How did mom and dad take it? Because you were, I'm guessing, 14 when you had this opportunity to be like, hey, if you want to make this work, we gotta go all in Malaysia. So how did you break the news, and how did they take it?
Okay, so there's two stories I can tell you. So the first one is when Mike offered to produce those 2 tracks before he was working with the big people. My dad, I only heard about this story 2 years ago during COVID.
Oh.
My dad told me, and he said, the only reason I let Babu pay for that production for those 2 songs was because I just wanted you to scratch that itch and get it done and over with.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said to me.
Do you know how much your mom?
I was like around the thousands, I think. Yeah. Under 3, under 2.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot at that time.
And how did that make you feel?
It just made me like, wow. See, you. I don't know. It just made me feel happy in a way.
Yeah.
I kind of proved him wrong, but he's always been super supportive. My parents have always been super supportive. They have been looking out for me, though. They wanted me to get my degree, which I got.
Yeah.
It's all for them. But I told them, I'm going back to music either way.
Yeah.
And then after my A-levels, I wanted to take a gap year. I didn't tell my dad.
I remember this.
But I told my mom. This was that was when we had that interview.
Yeah.
And I was
because you were in your school uniform when you came to the studio. I'm gonna go back to class after this.
It was horrible. Anyway, I didn't tell my dad, and he was really upset because he's like, anything that you want to do it fully, and just tell me. I will never say no. I think that's one of the perks of being the youngest.
Yeah.
Getting that support from your dad, I guess.
Because they're like, you know what? All the other kids got degrees already.
This one can be a flop.
No.
This one.
Yeah. So, wow. So once you found that out, you told your mom, all right, gap year.
Yeah.
Was she all on board? She was okay?
She was fine because I made it clear that I will go back to uni even if the song's a flop or if the song's a hit.
Yeah.
I will go either way.
I feel what people don't realize, I think, when our parents are involved or when family's involved, there's a little give and take, right?
100%.
They'll give you a little bit, then you give them a little bit,
yes.
and that's how a relationship works.
Yes, you can't just win all the time, right?
Yeah.
You can't get it your way all the time.
I don't know if you know, but I told my mom the same thing.
No
so
way.
I was.
But you did go to uni.
I did. So this was after uni, right? So I was working in the corporate scene for about 3 years, maybe already 2 years, 3 years. So I was working with Taib.
Right.
So I was with a Telbru subsidiary first, then Taib. And then after that, I just remember going for a drive with my mom because this was when work was at a low.
Okay.
We had a new managing director. We weren't sure the direction we were going to go.
Right.
Jay, Chaps and Rebels, right next to me. He was marketing. Everything on marketing, all on hold. I was in comms. Nazri, everything in comms, all on hold. So we were literally coming in every day like, what are we going to do? Like, what jobs? I can't just sit here.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking to myself like, I was like, I wonder what would happen if I became a magician, like a professional, full-time like magician, you know? And I don't want to be this guy 5 years from now, still sitting at this desk wondering what if. So I finally made the decision. And I remember driving along this Brakas road. I think everyone on the podcast has heard this like multiple times. Right. I was driving. I remember the exact stretch of road. I remember the time. I remember telling my mom. And I was just like, Mom, I'm gonna quit my job. And she's like, what? And do what? And I said, I think I'm gonna be a magician.
Wow, that sounds ridiculous. If I was your mom, I'd be like, what?
Exactly. Yeah,
no, but she knew how big of a fan you were with magic and stuff like that.
Yes, dude. And I was getting some gigs here and there.
Right.
But then I said also, like, I really want to focus on magic. I want to focus on radio, and I want to focus on being a coach. These are 3 things I love right now. And I said, give me 6 months. So I gave myself a time frame.
Right.
And also to set me up for success, I made sure I got extra gigs. Right. I got more hours on radio.
Right.
I made sure I got more slots at the gym. So I was prepping, you know, and I had like 3 months of pay as an emergency fund. And I was like, just give me 6 months. If it works out, you know, I'll keep pursuing it. If it doesn't, at least I've scratched that itch, you know?
Right.
And I've got my degree and my work experience to sort of fall back on. So I thought that was really cool that you had a little bit of give and take with your mom, just like I did with my mom. I was like, hey, just give me 6 months.
That's the thing that's so inspiring about you, because you actually made it work. You worked hard. You made sure you got those hours.
Thanks,
you made
man.
sure you had everything settled within those 6 months. For me, I kind of feel like it was handed to me on a silver platter.
I still think you had to work though, Aziz. Like I think because you enjoyed it so much, it didn't feel like work.
Maybe.
But I'm pretty sure you were doing. I'm sure you were taking time to be, you know, to shake people's hands, to be respectful of the people you meet. Like I know you, Aziz. I know you, and people sometimes don't realize that's part of the job too.
It really
right?
is. It really is. It's more than just making the music. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just being you, and just I think it just because of your upbringing, and I think it just all came natural to you. So it didn't really feel like work.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries, man.
You feel a lot better. Oh, can I lower my mic? Yes, of course. Sorry.
Didn't want to cover the moneymaker, you know.
No, the brand. The brand. Sorry.
Aziz, I've asked you this before. Actually, before I ask you this question,
Right.
I know you mentioned structure and a foundation in Malaysia.
Okay.
But what does Malaysia do differently to Brunei that allows people, musicians and people in the music industry to actually make a living doing it?
Again, it goes back to the ecosystem of companies. Let's say the telcos or the corporate companies, just the business around. They will have a certain budget, let's say, that is, again, if you want to compare it to Brunei, it's much bigger than Brunei's because of the population, the market. But they will spend X amount on these creatives, which will trickle down to these performers, trickle down to roadmen, to crewmen, to all these people that help out within the music industry. So it's a proper industry. So I think that's what Malaysia has, just a more, I have no idea how to word it, an entertainment based.
Yeah, like they have an emphasis for it. Like it's one of their main sort of industries.
Yes, 100%. And it's something that's taxable. You know, people make enough money to get taxed big time over there.
Yeah.
Even if you're just a songwriter, even if you're just a producer, someone that's like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the fact that they see music as kind of like a necessity in ads, in whatever they do in the corporate world.
And the person behind that voice too, right?
100%. And the face behind it as well.
Now, I didn't think it was a telco thing. I didn't think it was like a telco-based thing.
Oh, no. Most of the money that artists make, well, it's dying. The industry's dying.
I know like DG, Hotlink, they do
RBT,
always...
ringback-tone.
Yeah.
So that's where the chunk of the money comes from.
Wow.
Ringback-tone. Even though it's a dying revenue, what do you call it? Revenue stream.
Yeah.
But it's still there and it's still making a lot of money. Yeah.
Now, I've asked you this question before, and I sort of wanted to pick your brain on it, because with your style of music,
right,
super laid back, you know, you've got that jazzy sound to your vocals. You know, the way you sing Malay songs is very, very unique. And
Thank you.
always thought that you'd be such a right fit for Indonesia. So I wanted to ask you, one, you know, why Malaysia? And then two, would you ever consider sort of popping over to Indonesia and trying something out over there?
Why Malaysia? Because it was the industry, the place that gave me life as a musician.
Because they were the first people to sort of reach out.
100%.
It's crazy how it was 100%. An event in Bandung.
It was exactly.
But it was organized by a Malaysian?
It was organized. No, it was organized by. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was like a inter thing.
Oh, and then Mike just saw you there.
Yeah, okay. Mike just met me afterwards when I transited to KL.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I thought he met you there, David. Okay.
So so that's why I always stayed in Malaysia, because my fans were there from the Sunyan days. But they've always been so supportive with any kind of music that I release, whether it's English, whether it's a bit more Indo, not really Malaysia kind of thing. They've always been so supportive. That's why I felt like maybe I don't need to go to Indo. But this year I went to Jakarta. Just 2 months ago.
You did a little stint in Bali too.
Yeah, changed my life. Yeah, Bali was great. Yeah, but Jakarta. So I met a couple of people, and Jazz is there as well, a good friend of mine.
Yes.
So he went to Indonesia, and I went to Malaysia, and he just hooked me up, showed me around, and opened my eyes to what is possibly going to be my next step in my journey, in my musical journey.
That's so amazing, Aziz, because I remember I was shooting a reality show there, a magic show, and I was walking around the mall, and this cover band was just performing in the middle of a mall, and they were playing Jazz's music, and I was like, "That's a Bruneian guy."
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, "That's a Bruneian guy, like a Bruneian guy's song."
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember in between, scenes on the show where we're in the studio. The hype, there's always that hype person, sort of get the crowd hype a little bit. And then they said, all right, anyone in the audience can sing. This could be your big opportunity. And this Indonesian guy came up and he started singing one of Jazz's songs. And I was just like, that's a Bruneian song. An Indonesian guy is singing a Bruneian song. Like, it was so crazy for me. And I always felt like your music was such a good fit for Indonesia, with the way you played the guitar. When I see guys that, Molly introduced me to, Ran, Kunto Aji,
yes.
Malik in the Essentials.
Exactly.
I was like, Aziz would knock it out the park here.
Yeah. So that's a plan for the future, hopefully.
Wow. Dude, that's
definitely.
So
I'm looking into it because I'm 24 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either I do it now or I never, right?
And also,
never.
What have you got to lose? Right?
Exactly. I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Have you absolutely nothing to lose?
Have you made plans? Like, as in, what's a move to Jakarta look like? Is that like, I need to get some savings together, I need to line up some auditions? What does that look like to you in your head?
So I'm thankful enough to have someone like Jazz who actually wants me over there. Mm-hmm. So out of everyone that I know, he's the one that's really pushing me to go there. So he's the one helping me meet people, just look at how they do things differently here compared to Malaysia. Because you take what you can from Malaysia, but see how you can adapt it to Jakarta, to Indonesia. So he's helped me a lot. And in terms of just getting ready for Jakarta, I think it's just the language.
Yeah.
Bahasa Indo. It's so hard because going to KL to learn Bahasa Malaysia with the accent and everything, that was so challenging.
And even just like interacting with the audience on stage.
100%.
And that slang.
Yes, exactly. So now that I've got that down, to do it again in Indonesia, that's going to be a huge challenge.
Wow.
But I think I'm up for that challenge. I think it's about time.
I know you can tackle that head on.
Thank you.
Because I was like, if I can speak Bahasa on a TV show, I'm like, and I've got the worst Malay, Aziz, I know for a fact you can do it. I just always envisioned you crushing it over there, man. And I really think you have the potential to crush it.
Thank you. I really hope I do too.
When you said there was a slight difference in Malaysian, music and Indonesian music, what is it exactly? Like for the listeners out there, because I know there's a style. There's a style that I'm like, that's an Indonesian track.
Yes.
And so, but what is it to you? Do you think?
I think it goes back to their language, their bahasa, because the way that they speak casually, it is still so poetic. It's so poetic.
I agree. There's a rhythm to it.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
And it translates into their lyrics.
Okay.
Because their lyrics are so simple. Simple.
Simple.
Simple.
That's a little Freudian slip there.
Spotify.
Those are the kind of tracks you're going to be writing over there.
That's Jakarta.
That's it. Sorry, Aziz has been cancelled. He wants to write sinful tracks. He's barred at customs. Sorry, Aziz, you cannot masuk Indonesia.
But their lyrics are so simple. And it's so conversational, like their lyrics. So in a way, everyone can relate to that. Whereas in Malaysia, it's a bit more, it's not so conversational. The lyrics, it's stayed that way for a long time. It's very, lyrics meant for a song you wouldn't actually say in real life. Yeah. Whereas in Indonesia, you would actually use those lyrics.
Oh, okay. I never. Okay.
There's not much freedom to write.
Yeah.
Like how you would want to.
I just feel like the tracks that come out of Indonesia, they hit to that heart a little bit, right? Like you can genuinely feel the emotion that person is trying. Like sometimes I don't even understand it, but you can feel the vibe from the song. Like I get it, dude.
But then again, not to defend Malaysia.
Of course, yeah. I'm not saying like, hey,
To defend Malaysia, there is a lot of good music, especially within the indie scene. So the sad thing is, Malaysia, the population is not as big as Indonesia. So dangdut in Indonesia is like, the bread and butter of music. Yeah. But the population is big enough to have its own dangdut industry, you see.
That's so crazy.
If you think about it, if 10% just lie in dangdut, the other 90% it can be anything else, which is the Kunto Ajis, the Tulos, the Ran, the Malik Essentials. In Malaysia, the population is so small. So the mass dictates what they want to listen to. So we will forever be stuck with that one particular sound, and jazz, R&B, hip hop will never really have that spotlight.
Okay, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, so that's what I realized in Malaysia. The population is not that big.
Do you think you'd ever do a dangdut track?
Oh, if someone like slips me a big fat check, then I might just
never say never.
I'll never say never. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Honestly, I love all kinds of music. Yeah. If it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love music. If it's cool, it's cool.
Man, I really can't wait to see you crush it over there.
Thank you so much.
Because you've been in the industry since you were 15,
right?
14, 15.
15.
Were there any moments where you felt like you had to go through tough lessons, or you needed to learn quick? Being in an industry, being an outsider too, bringing in an industry that no one in Brunei really has any bearings on,
Right.
Did you ever feel like you sort of had to learn quick, or there were some mistakes that you made, but they were essential mistakes? You know what I mean?
I think it was more on learning what my fan base wanted, why I was so different, why they accepted me in that music industry when there's there's plenty of other talented people in that industry, but the people still chose to listen to my music. So it was just learning what was so special about my music. How do I keep that specialness in my music but still grow at the same time? So I'm learning that now. But yeah, that was one of the few challenges I had to quickly realize and be like, hey, we need to figure this out. If not, people are just gonna give me music that I'm just gonna sing, and I'm not gonna, it's not gonna translate with my fans.
That's such a crazy thought to have at 14 or 15. How did that even come about, Aziz? Because I know there's so many performers out there who would just be like, great, they want me to sing? Sure, I'll sing whatever they want. Right. Or magicians, like, great, I'll do this trick, whatever, I'll do this trick, right. But what made you even think of that?
I think it was because I was always glued to a guitar. So people always see me, hey, Aziz is that boy with a guitar.
Okay.
So, so in my head, okay, I'm different because of this, but how do I capitalize off of this? What else is different about me? Is it my music? Is it because my guitar playing? Yeah. It's in my music? How do I get more of that into my music? How do I, share more with my fans? Yeah. So I think it was a whole, being that boy with a guitar.
How did you find that out? Like that was the thing that your fans, because you said, I got to find out what my fans like, and I got to know how to deliver to it, but at the same time grow. So how did you find out? Like nowadays, you could just go on an Instagram story and just be like, hey, real quick, what do you like about my music? And then people give you all these suggestions and all that stuff. But then it wasn't as accessible. So how did you find out that this was what the thing was? Was it just a trial and error thing, or was it genuinely like you knew this was it?
I kind of knew it was it because looking at the comments that people would give me on YouTube, so there would be like these uncles. So I'd cover like a Jonas Brothers song.
Okay.
Right? And I know for a fact they didn't click on the video because it was a Jonas Brothers cover, right?
Okay.
It was because this kid had a guitar with him. Okay. And their comments would be, wow, good guitar playing. Wouldn't comment on the singing, just guitar. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm not that bad at playing the guitar. So I always knew I had that kind of, that edge of being able to play the guitar.
And like you were just curious too, right?
I was super obsessed. Like I was more obsessed with the guitar than I was with singing.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really the guitar.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, I was never obsessed with
I always
singing.
knew you were such a good guitar player, but I thought it was just the other way around.
No, singing came second. It was always the guitar. Even now, I must say.
Wow.
So I'm trying to practice more of my singing these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, being in these situations, you know, you were so young when you traveled over there. You mentioned Bazi a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Did having a manager help?
100%.
How did Bazi come into the picture?
Bazi came into the picture because he had a professional setup. You see,
In Brunei?
Yeah, for covers.
Okay, because he was doing that thing with Faye at one point,
Yes,
right?
with a lot of people, with Jazz even.
Yes.
So he had an actual studio that we could actually record with a condenser mic, plugged in guitar and everything.
It was soundproof.
It was soundproofed.
Ish. I remember the room. I remember the room. I remember that white room, right?
He pretended like he could mix. You know, we joke about it. But without him, without his platform, I think you would never see an AZIZ, you would never see a Jazz.
Really?
Honestly. Wow. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Because more than even more than that, he kept relationships alive for us, professional relationships that we were too young to understand.
Yeah.
Right? Like relationships with Mike, with these people that I now work with. It's all because of Bazi. He was the glue. He was the guy that was just telling me, hey, Aziz, Mike has this. He was always the kind of like the messenger, but not, I don't want to.
Keeping track of everything.
Keeping track of everything. And he just made it work. My show in Jurong Park, he sorted that out for me. He made a lot of things happen for me, and I will always be eternally grateful to him.
That's what Yaya is in my life for. She does all the things that I'm really terrible at.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I love creating, I love performing, I love just doing all that. But I'm really terrible at all the logistics.
The admin side, right?
The admin side, I'm so terrible. And I think one of the common threads that with all the people that we've interviewed on the show so far is having people that you can trust around you. Yes. Whether it is to help invest, whether it is to help build the business, whether it is just to help you on your day-to-day, like having the people around you that you can trust to do the things that you're bad at. I mean, not necessarily crap at, but just where you're lacking.
Yeah, it gives you time to focus on your craft when you don't have to, think about all these other things.
Yeah. Being so young in the industry, Aziz, did you feel like it was difficult for clients or partners or businesses to take you seriously at the time?
To a certain extent, yes, because they would always just pinch my cheeks and say that I'm cute, right? They'd be like that. But they talk everything else with Bazi, so I trusted Bazi to deal with all the grown-up stuff, and I was just really invested into performing, into singing, and putting on a good show. I didn't really think of anything else. Yeah, which was a blessing in disguise. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Are you a little bit more hands-on with that stuff now? Like all the black and whites,
just a little bit more hands-on, because I really enjoy reading contracts, going through them, and I think it's just the person that I am.
Who hurt you, Aziz? No. But like, okay, so that's generally things that you're in.
Honestly, yeah. Like the only desk job that I will get would be an A&R of a record label, and I don't think that's really a desk job. But it's just going through the contracts, learning about the music business. It excites me. I love it. Yeah.
Have you experienced your I made it moment?
I made it moment.
Because I was recently on Instagram. I forgot. There's another Bruneian guy, Rizal.
Rizal, yes.
He's in KL now.
Yes, he's with Warner now.
He's with Warner
now.
now.
He's the second Bruneian now. He's AZIZ Harun replacement. No, I'm joking. He's a great guy. Super talented. He
recently posted up an Instagram video of him singing with a lady. I apologize. I don't know who that lady is. Raisa. And he said, this is my I made it moment. So or it was either that or when he was on stage and he was like, this is my I made it moment. Yeah. Have you experienced an I made it moment?
In a way, yes. But it comes and goes because that I made it moment only lasts until you think of something else that you want to achieve, until you made that moment happen. This moment is just, it's at the back, Yeah. So meeting Jason Mraz was an I made it moment. Yeah. Again, performing in front of unis, crowds and stuff like that in KL was an I made it moment. Hearing them sing my song back to me without even me singing, that's an I made it moment. It's all these small wins, but I'm still not satisfied. And I think it's good in a way because I just want to give more to them. What else can I give to these people?
For sure, man.
Yeah, so I've never really had that I made it moment. And I don't think I've made it.
I think one of the things that I've learned as a performer is you enjoy the high or the low up till 6 o'clock in the next morning. And then after you forget it, you reset, you go again.
You're right. And it's quite bad.
It is.
But it's not saying that we don't appreciate it.
No. It's just that you don't want, because, okay, another saying that I keep close to the vest is your new highs become your new lows. So every time that standard just keeps going up and you're trying to live up to it every single time, and it gets difficult every single time.
It does get difficult.
So that's why I think it's important that, yes, if you crush the gig, you know, you enjoy that high all the way up till 6 that next morning.
Yep.
And after that, you reset, your average Joe now, you get back to work.
Yep.
That's how I treat it. Or if I have the worst gig in the world, everything went wrong, I wallow in self-pity.
Yes.
I get sad up till 6 a.m. the next day. And after that, I reset and I go back to work.
Wow, that's easier said than done. You know?
I know.
When I mess up, I
mentally, I have to, if not, because I'm just going to obsess over it, Aziz. I'm going to obsess over it. I'm going to be grumpy. And that's not a benefit for myself and anyone else around me.
That's so true. That's so true.
So how do you tackle something like that?
Oh man, I blame it because I'm a creative, right? So I take my time. I stay sad.
When was the last time you felt this way? Was there like a bad gig moment? Something didn't happen right, or?
I can't really remember. I can't pin anything to it, but I have felt that way, and I just remember feeling so bad and horrible about it that it ate me up for a couple of days. Yeah. For a couple of days. Yeah.
I always think to myself, it's because I set expectations, and I feel expectations are the root of all evil for me. I feel like when you have expectations, then you're expecting things to go a certain way, and when they don't, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
100%.
Do you feel like you're a perfectionist? Excuse me.
To a certain extent, yes, but I realize that with music, with any craft, you just have to let it flow.
Yeah.
You can't be too hard on yourself. You can't be too hard on your producers, the people around you. You know, if it works, it works. Once it's out there, it's out there.
One of my closest friends, he told me, like, you're too much of a perfectionist. Because I was posting 365 Days of Magic one point, and I was one weekend, and I missed a day or two, and I was just like, it's like, why you stop posting? And I said, like, this one's just not right. Like, you could see my finger, or like something's off. And he's like, you know what? You're a perfectionist. And if you wait for everything to be perfect to post, you're never going to post anything. And I was like, oh, like, because right now, especially in the game of social media and content, it's all about consistency. Because how are you going to learn? You're not going to learn if you're not going to post. So I remember just taking that, and I was like, oh.
In that sense, then I do agree, and it goes back to the highs and lows. So back then, when I was recording covers of my YouTube boxes and everything, I wasn't really thinking much of it, right? But then you start recording proper covers, and some do better than others. So now that I'm recording covers, I can totally relate to you. If it's a crap cover, then it's a crap cover, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to post it. It's just not your day.
And then you're like,
but you end up not posting anything for
forever.
weeks. Yeah, forever,
dude,
forever.
I 100%. I'm on the same page, because there are days where I'm on a hiatus at the moment. Like
I've been on hiatus.
The last time I posted was so long, you know.
Yeah,
and
so
it's because of one thing. Because you set a plan. Once again, I set expectations. I set a plan. I'm going to post this, and then the second I mess up, I'm like, oh, I'm done. That's it. It's over. I never want to do this ever.
I never expected that from you.
Oh, dude, I'm that guy.
Oh, okay.
I am that guy. I'm that guy. What lets you know that a recording's perfect, or when you're recording a song, you know, your producers are there, you know, you're in the booth.
Right.
When do you know that that track is finally like, yep, we're good? Because I'm pretty sure sometimes a track would probably take a day, and I'm sure some takes months.
100%. Yeah.
But there's got to be a moment where you're like, you know what? I can't fix this anymore. This is the best product I can give right now. What's that like for you?
So I go through a process of just playing that song acoustically for different ears. So someone who loves listening to... so in the office in Malaysia at Faithful, we have Zat, head of media, So she loves Korean stuff, all the Korean R&B, pop, whatever. And then there's Ja'a, who loves all the local Malay ballads, all the old ballads and stuff like that. So I always play my music for these two and just see what they have to say. If it's a pop song, then I will take more of what Zat will say.
Yeah.
If it's a more ballady song, then I'll take what Ja'a would say. And I just get people's comments and just go back to the studio and try to apply it to my music until they're satisfied, until I'm satisfied. But it's a balance of me being satisfied and the listener being satisfied.
Yeah.
So again, a give and take.
And once again, it's having that core team you can trust around you.
Yes. Is it the same with Magic?
Yeah, definitely, dude. And I think I'm very aware, because I think with Magic, it's so easy to perform, to just be like, damn, that looks good. Or like, like I could totally fool a magician with this.
Yeah, that's a wow moment, right?
Yeah, but then I think at the end of the day, how magicians see your trick and how your audience sees your trick, two different eyes, two different sets of eyes. Because obviously, when I'm trying to perform for a magician, I'm trying to flex a little bit, right?
Of course.
I'm not performing as much. My script's super loose.
Yep.
You know, my slides are laser. I'm trying to show off the hardest slide I can do.
Yes.
When I'm performing for, you know, like an audience,
Yep.
it's all about how can I share a moment of astonishment with this one person? How can I have them find value in this trick to let them have a better day? It's two different mindsets.
That's crazy.
And when I'm performing for an audience, or when I'm creating a trick for an audience, I have to see from those eyes. And I'm very aware that, because I think some magicians will perform the same tricks they do for magicians and as well as for
an audience.
Yeah. And they were like, I don't know why I'm not getting reactions and stuff, because they're looking at it just from this one frame.
Right.
And from you, with your music, you're looking at it from you. And at the same time, you're wondering, I wonder how my listeners would enjoy this. And then you're asking someone who's had some old school ballad experience what their thoughts are about it.
Yep.
Then you're asking someone who's a little bit more new school with the K-pop and stuff like that. So I think it's really important to see it from multiple angles and to be aware that it's an unbiased opinion. Because I can see my performance, and you know, so many people in your group would just be like, that was so good, man.
Right, you have yes men and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right? And I think, you know, and for me, I know, because when I'm performing, I'm aware enough that, that timing was off, or that line was really good. I need to find out how I can replicate this exact feeling the next time.
Right.
So I'm super aware. And I know for a fact, like, you've performed your songs thousands and thousands of times, just like I've performed tricks thousands and thousands of times. And there's a moment of flow that you can flow state that the music can happen, the magic can happen. And it allows you to just focus specifically on the performance and the audience.
Yes, exactly.
And that's when the real magic, the real work happens, right?
Yes. And
Is that the same for you?
I can relate to that, definitely. It's when you write a song and you just know the lyrics and the melody, they're a perfect pair. Yeah. So I think my hit songs are all, it's when those two things happen.
How long does it, like for those hits, how long did it take for you to sort of, from start to finish, how long do they usually take?
Usually, it's hard to say, but usually it's fast. Just the writing session could just be an hour to 2 hours,
really?
Like less than a day. But completing the song production-wise and everything, that would take months, obviously. But just getting the melodies and the idea of the song, that can just take most of my... Well, Jangan and Jao just took 2-3 hours. Yeah. It was just a big jam, or just, you know, jamming out on a mic, saying some words, and hey, that fits this word, this melody fits this word, or this word fits this melody, and it's just a flow state. That's it.
Dude, I get it, man. I get it.
That's crazy.
You said you've done all these performances. Were there, you know, from unis to like big stages, TV, all that stuff. TV. Which one excites you the most? Which one do you enjoy performing at the most?
Oh, universities, of course, man.
Yeah,
100%.
What's the crowds like? Like, how many people are there?
It's crazy. I can never tell. But it's just a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I really miss doing those university tours where I'd sing Sunyan, and they'd come up to me, it's like, I used to listen to this when I was 12.
Oh,
you know, because we were the same age.
Yeah.
But like, the last time I did it, it was really fun because at that time, Jangan just came out. Okay. So they knew Jangan. And I love the fact that most of the people in Malaysia don't know me as in my face, but they know my songs. And I have no problem against that.
I was just going to ask you.
It's absolutely fine with me because I've always been about the music.
Yeah.
I've always been satisfied with people knowing my music and not me entirely. It's fine. Yeah.
Do you have a name for your fans? Like, you know how Taylor Swift's got the Swifties, right?
It has shifted a couple of times. So they named themselves Harunators way back.
Harunators.
So I was like, that's kind
your dad must be so proud.
I've got an army of little girls. Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, but I kind of rebranded after getting onto big stage.
Okay.
So it was the Jumbles. Had to bring back that Jumble to one too.
Yes, dude.
But I'm not sure about it now.
Is that YouTube page still there?
It is, but it's now under AZIZ Harun, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's AZIZ Harun now.
Do you know, this is a stupid story. Do you know why there's an astronaut in the logo?
Is it? No, I have no idea.
Okay, so this is my logo. It has the astronaut. I had Matsuki design it for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just told him, hey, I want an astronaut. I want a space theme. Najee presents. That's it. And it's a podcast, so he needs a mic, you know?
Okay.
So then I was like, I've been asked before. Yeah, I asked like, so what's up with the space theme, man? Like, what's up with that? And the corporate answer is because the podcast is out of this world. You know?
Wow, what a lie! That's amazing.
But you gotta fake it till you make it. But in reality, and this is a vain reason, Aziz. But in reality, I said, if this podcast ever takes off, and we have fans and we have listeners, I want to call them the Nastronauts.
The Nastronauts. You even have a name for them.
There's an astronaut in
but
the
that's so
logo.
sick. That is so that's so sick.
It's so lame that I'm sitting here thinking, one day we're gonna have
Can I be the first one?
Yes, dude.
Can I be the first astronaut?
You are an official astronaut, and I'm an official jumble. You know,
I wish I had that kind of execution in my head. Oh wow, that's so sick.
I feel like an idiot sometimes when I tell the story, but yeah,
it's so catchy as well.
That's the only reason why I have a space themed logo.
Can you help me with my fan name?
Dude, we'll come up with
because I don't want to use Harunators. That's my dad's name, right?
No, because
at least it's
your dad loves it. Your dad loves it. We can't go wrong with that. But it's got to be something with Aziz, right?
Yes, that's the thing.
Top of your head right now, what would it be?
A scissors. No, I'm joking. No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
No, why not?
Sisters, right?
The sisters, but then it would just limit to girls. But that is the that is the demographic you're going for.
Yeah.
You know, we'll think of something. By the end of this podcast, we'll think of something.
Yeah, we'll have a new name for the fan base. But that's sick.
Thanks,
sick.
Matt.
That is sick.
The only reason.
And Shauki, shout out to Shauki because he actually designed one of my artworks, my 4th single.
Did he?
It's Mama. It was a bear. So I said, I really want this guy Matsuki to do it.
Yeah.
So he came back and was like, yeah, he designed a bear for us.
Dude, that's awesome.
A mama bear and a
super talented.
Bear. Yeah, super talented.
Speaking back to your university shows and all that stuff, do you, with the jumbles, has there ever been any crazy fan stories?
Fan stories.
I'm sure something's popped to your head right now. Don't pretend like, they don't know.
No, they're fans. Yeah. No. Honestly, they're so respectful. They're so nice. Some go wild on, I mean, on IG and the DMs back then. Not
DMs?
anymore. Yeah, way back then.
When you were like
when I was like 13, 14, when I first started.
No.
Yeah, when I first started, they were all kids. We were all kids at that time.
Okay.
So now we're all a bit older. We can think for ourselves now. So we don't say the things that we used to say.
Yeah.
So back then they were super fanatic, but now they still are. They are, but it's just in a more adult and mature way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the craziest thing that I've experienced is after a show. I think it was in one of the states in Malaysia. I can't remember. This girl just couldn't stop crying. Just couldn't stop crying.
During the whole performance?
No. When I met her backstage, because the friend was part of the committee, she pulled her friend and the friend just couldn't stop crying. And she was right in front of me and she just couldn't say anything and she just couldn't stop crying. I was so scared because I've never seen that in my life. Yeah. But apparently she was crying because she was such a big fan. I hope that was the case. Yeah. I really hope that was the case.
She was just so happy.
I hope she wasn't injured or anything, right? Like, what if she just really
broke my leg in the middle of the mosh,
and you're taking me to see this guy?
And you kept saying jangan, don't mosh anymore.
You just keep sanyuming, right? You know? No, but that was crazy to me because I think we posted it on no, sorry. She said hi to me. Normally she said, hey, what's up? Okay, done.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, the friend posted and she couldn't stop crying on Instagram.
After that.
Same place.
Wow, so
just
control cool in front. 5 seconds later.
5 seconds later, I just left and I saw my Instagram. She posted a story and she's completely in tears.
Wow.
And I thought I saw her in real life because I just stared at that video for a long time. I said, is this normal? Is this okay? Is she okay?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's crazy when people come up to me and say, hey, your song has helped me go through this. It's just a nice feeling, and just thank you to my fans for always.
Because I really feel, just to go back to it, but like music, such a special place in my heart. I can pinpoint specific tracks to specific moments, specific breakups, specific downs in my life, specific highs in my life.
It's like perfume, right? It's like when you smell it, takes you back to a certain memory.
Dude.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah,
it's just a beautiful thing.
Did you ever think you'd have this sort of effect on people with your music?
100% no, but that has always been the goal though. Yeah. So right now when I write songs, I wanna write for the listeners. It's for myself too, but how can people relate to it? Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's, I think,
because we all go through the same thing.
Yeah. Because when hip hop, I could relate to so bad because
top three right now. Top 3.
Oh, Jay-Z. Easy, Jay-Z. Oh man. Logic is one of my favorites right now.
Wow.
On that new school, like, there's just something about Logic, dude, that I'm just like, this guy's legit. Old school Kanye.
Old school Kanye. Like,
old school Kanye.
Like which album?
Oh, College Dropout.
College Dropout, okay.
You know, like even the album after that with, it's just Gold Digger, you know, what's the track with? Like now that I'm on the spot, like the track with Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Slow Jams.
Slow Jams.
Yeah, so old school Kanye, those top 3.
So that helped you.
Yeah, because I felt, when I was listening to hip hop, I was talking about it with Easy, because Easy loves hip hop as well, right? His name's Easy. Easy. But I found out it wasn't because of hip hop he got that nickname. His dad just called him Easy.
Oh,
that was it.
Maybe his dad was a fan of hip hop.
Maybe. But I just remember listening to hip hop tracks. Like I remember Jay-Z's Dynasty album came out, and he was rapping about things like broken homes and like just being there with your mom, trying to get by, seeing your mom scrape bottom of the barrel. These were things I could relate to, Z's. Like when my parents divorced, like I saw my mom scrape the bottom of the barrel just for us to get by. And I just remember, these are moments in my head that I just like remember. And I remember listening to these tracks and I just could relate to them so much, and
that's the beautiful thing about music, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how you can relate to someone else's lyrics or their words.
I know you're a hip hop kid as well, so top 3 hip hop.
Top 3 hip hop. I'm new generation, so
okay.
Jay-Z has to be in there.
Yes,
100%. Drake.
Oh,
that's my generation.
Drake, dude. Yes.
Drake, and then J. Cole. I'm a big fan of J. Cole. I'm a big fan of J. Cole. Huge fan of J. Cole.
Yeah, Kendrick's pretty good too. When we're talking about.
He's too smart for me. I can't.
It's wasted on me.
Yeah, it's wasted on me.
It's like, wasted on me.
This is not meant for me. I didn't go to Oxford. No.
Because some of the lines Chance the Rapper's another favorite.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That first mixtape. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta do a separate podcast just on hip hop alone.
Yeah, we do.
As someone who has dabbled in the industry here as well as in the industry in Malaysia, what's your thoughts on the current music scene in Brunei?
Honestly speaking, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's the whole gigging environment, whether it's corporate shows, corporate dinners, wedding shows, or just shout out to FN Duo, man. They've been hustling hard, performing.
Just do a platform for people.
Yeah, just providing that platform, busking wherever music is supposed to be played. Yeah. They are there.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to see. I wish I could be a part of it more in Brunei and just rock up and perform. And yeah, it's lovely to see that there's progress, and I hope it will just, continue.
Yeah.
And it will not stop or be stopped.
Apart from that, what else do you think the music industry in Brunei is doing right? Because we have limitations here. Let's not lie. We'll talk about that in a second. But what do you think? What else do you think the Brunei music scene is doing right? I think one of the thing is reaching out for collaborations.
Yes.
I think recording studios and stuff are way more accessible now.
100%. And they are more open. There's no such thing as that cult. Like people, we only hang out with people that sing this kind of stuff. Like you go to the studio just to sing this kind of music. No.
Yeah.
It's like Zayed. Shout out to Zayed.
Oh. That guy's a sweetheart, man.
He is a sweetheart.
Greatest hair in the game.
Yes, the finest hair in the game. But really, he loves all kinds of music, and his band, you know, they make the effort to play outside of Brunei, in Miri and stuff like that. So just having that drive, I see it more in musicians and performers in Brunei, singers in Brunei.
This vocalist is right here.
Exactly, yeah. Again, honestly, dari dulu until now, you've just been at it. Oh, it's crazy to see. I love it. I just love it.
What's one thing, like you know, when you look at your time in Malaysia, when you look at your experience in Jakarta, what's one thing the Brunei music scene or Brunei can do different to take the industry to the next level?
I think we lack practice.
I'll break that down.
We don't get enough shows here in the country. So we do not have enough experience dealing with crowds, handling crowds, performing, setting up a band, having the right sound system. The partners in hand when you actually set up for an event. So people are really not used to that here because we don't get the opportunity to practice it, to perform. So it's so important to know what you want from your sound check, to know what you want from your sound man, from your sound crew.
Especially if you're working with them for the first time, right?
Exactly. Especially when you're performing in front of a crowd that's paying to watch you, or a crowd that's just taking time out of their day to watch you. Whether it's over dinner, you know, it's still valuable time, and it's a time where you should give your all and perform at your best, because these people are taking time out of their day to listen to you while they eat, you know, when they can watch a YouTube video or whatever. So it's really important for people to just practice performing, but that's one thing I wish we had in Brunei. Just more platforms to perform, to have live performances, and just
because overseas there's so much access to open mics.
Yes.
In Melbourne, you could just get a license to busk on the streets, and the license is less than $100, I think. And you just, as long as you have it, you can just perform on the streets, put your case out, and see if people like it. They just throw money in.
As simple as busking. Honestly, if we had that platform in Brunei, I think people would jump on it. 100%.
So many performers made their, like Justin Bieber was busking.
Exactly.
Tones and I was busking as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So and we've got all the right places to set up for busking, like all the pasar malams, all the mamaks, all the like tempat makan. Like, you know, we really should support that kind of industry, even though it's a you know, it's an industry that might not make any money or maybe a little bit of money, but it's a platform for people to practice. It's very important.
I wholeheartedly agree. Just having places, also like open mics, are just safe places for you to crash and burn as well.
Yes.
It's a safe place for you to crash and burn. I think we don't have enough of that in Brunei as well. There's not, I'm blessed to have opportunities in my career to perform on stages and learn from these places.
Right.
But I think for a lot of people, you know, there are no places for them to practice a new magic routine, to practice a new poem, to practice a new track, to practice performing, stand up, whatever. There's no place to safely crash and burn here. And I think that's really important. Do you think it's important for, you know, if someone who's trying to get into an industry like this, to know about the different parts of the industry as well, right? Because I think just now you said, you got to know what you expect from your sound man.
True. You
got to make sure your stage hands know what's up, where do you expect things? Because you don't want to keep running on and off stage to pick things up.
Exactly.
Is that something that you think people should look into as well?
Well, in the beginning, I don't think it's as important as just your craft. So whatever it is, focus on your craft, your lyrics, your writing, your singing, your guitar playing, whatever. But I think along the way, as your career goes, it's super important to just know what's going on behind the scenes, whether it's your contract, whether it's your manager, whether it's deals being made, or like, you know, sound, stuff like that. It's important to know. Yeah.
That's something Easy mentioned as well. Like when it comes to even for fighting. Yeah. Just gotta make sure you look through the contract, make sure you understand these things, what's expected, what the clauses are.
Because you have to know what you're bringing to the table as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to value yourself too, right?
Yes, exactly.
What is next for AZIZ Harun?
Man.
We know Jakarta's in the mix somewhere.
Jakarta's in the mix somewhere, definitely. But in the near future, I'm currently working on a project, my first album. Oh. Yeah, my first album.
How long have you been working on this for?
Since March, but these songs, I've had these songs since 2018, 2019, and we've just been working them up. It's a small album, it's not a big one, but it's my first album. All of them are new songs. And there's just a track for everyone. There's no theme to the album officially, but there's a track for everyone.
Do you have a name for the album yet?
I don't want to say just yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to say just yet, but we do. And it's just, I'm super excited to release it. We're going through the mixing and mastering stages right now for it.
Yeah. That's one thing you did there that I love, and it just shows me the kind of person that you are, Aziz. Because when I said, do you have a name for the album? And you said, we do. Because I know that this isn't a solo effort. This is a team effort.
100%.
Regardless if you're a musician or a magician, when I'm creating content, like my crew is right here. Yep. Like I have I have a team,
yep.
And we all look out for each other. And I think that's one of the important things, I think, as well, that what people don't realize is, yes, your talent, it brought you here, but also there's a team there.
A lot of people behind you, right?
And it just shows me like the kind of person that you are, that you just don't forget the people that's in your squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just a little thing I just wanted to point out. I don't know if you realize, I don't know if you meant it, but like I just want you to know, like, hey, that's cool, man. It just shows me the kind of person that you are.
Thank you.
So Aziz, you've put out hit tracks. You have thousands and thousands and thousands of views on the YouTube.
Right.
You've performed on stage for, I bet in total now millions of people.
I'd say hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands?
But not millions. Maybe upwards, under 200, I think. I don't think I'm there yet.
Do you ever feel like you don't belong there? Do you still have moments where you're like, oh, why are they hiring? Because I can only speak for myself, Aziz. Like I have moments all the time where I feel super insecure.
100%.
There are moments where I'm like, oh, why are they hiring me? Like I'm not even the best.
Yes.
When I'm performing on stage with other magicians from different countries, I'm like, what am I doing here? There are other greater magicians. Like, why am I?
Yep.
And I'm sure people who are going on their journey, people who, want to take that leap, I'm sure they go through these moments as well. And I just want to know if you still go through these moments as well.
100%. Now more than ever, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm grown enough to just think more, and I think I've become a bit of an overthinker. And back then, I was just like, if I got a gig, I'd commit to it and sing. Yeah. These days, I'd be like, oh, it's for this. Oh, do I have to do this? Then I'd be like, oh, but maybe I'm not the right person for this. Maybe you should get this guy. Yeah. But I'm like, they wanted you, Aziz. Like, why didn't you just go? Just do it.
Yeah.
So, I do go through it a lot these days, and it's quite bad. But I guess it's normal to just be insecure. But then again, I tell myself, hey man, you're Nazri. Yeah. I'm Nazri. I'm Aziz.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people call you. Live up to it, dude. Do it. Yeah. It's not fake it till you make it. Yeah. Kind of is, but if they trust you that much, why can't you trust yourself that much?
Yeah. And also it goes back to some of the things you said just now, like wanting to deliver to your listeners, to your clients, to your fans. And also I tell myself this all the time. If I'm nervous, if I'm insecure, it means I care.
Yeah.
It means I care, that I want to put out a good enough product that makes it worth these people's time. Yeah. So what do you do when, apart from that, is there anything else you do when you go through these moments?
I talk to my mom. Honestly, I'm a mama's boy, so I talk to her, and she gives me all the confidence in the world.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. I'm
the most handsome man on earth.
Yeah. And I'm always like, Mama, like I'm off to my gig now. I'm 35, Aziz. I'm like, Mama, I'm off to my gig now. Just say a little prayer for me, okay? And she will.
Exactly.
And it's just it gives me way more confidence. Yes. I'm still a little insecure, still a little bit that but it gives me a little bit more power.
100%.
So we've got a surprise for you, Aziz.
No, you guys, you didn't have to.
You see, I wanted people to know that even people like you sort of have these emotions, these thoughts, these feelings and stuff like that. And I wanted to give you a gift so that whenever you felt this way again, that you could always come back to this moment, this one moment right here. So what we did, was we reached out to your circle of friends and we asked them the question, how has Aziz impacted your life with what he does?
You are joking.
So we asked a few people, and here's what they had to say. Okay, go ahead. But I just wanted you to know that even if you ever have these emotions, if you ever have these feelings again, I want you to come back to this moment and just remember this and let it sink in. So the first clip is from someone you might know. Her name's Sarah. She's a super fan of yours.
Sarah Idris.
So here's what Sarah
Idris, yeah.
Here's what Sarah has had to say about
How'd you pull this off?
How you have impacted her life with what you do.
So Aziz has impacted me and my life through his music in a very positive and good ways. I've always felt comforted and concealed by his music, especially each of songs of him. He has a very good quality lyrics, and he actually deserves more recognition for what he has been doing up till now, because he's one young talented person, singer, and also a musician. He is the humble person I ever met throughout my life, and I would like to express my gratitude to him for what his music has done, and I will never get over how blessed I am to actually know Aziz Harun and able to support him up till now, and how much his music means a lot to me, and I really love him so much. I will forever pray for his success, keep on supporting him no matter what, and I actually can't wait to see him perform live one day, inshallah, Ameen.
How does that make you feel, man?
Oh, man. See, that's what I do it for, you know.
Could you maybe tell us a little bit who Sarah is to you and to you know?
Sarah, see, I hate saying fans.
Yeah.
So people that listen to my music, I call them my listeners. So Sarah has always been a listener that has, you know, told me why she likes certain songs. Mm-hmm. And she has always expressed, you know, gratitude towards me and saying, thank you, please post more, please do this, without sounding demanding. It's just because she wanted me to get out there more, and she would always share to her friends, and she wouldn't even tag me. So she's always been that super supportive listener that I can even call a friend now, because I'd bump into her and we'd chill, we'd talk for a few minutes. And it's crazy how, you know, music has given that to me. And these people, you know,
did you ever think you'd have this sort of like impact on people?
100% no.
Yeah.
For them to take time out of their day to respond to your text, to your message, and to say
over there,
Miss Yaya, to respond to you, and to just, you know, send that voice message. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm lost for words.
So we also reached out to another friend of yours, one of your best friends.
Oh no.
One of the most buff guys we know. He goes by the name of Ashraf.
Oh my God. What does he have to say?
So this is what Ashraf has had to say about how Aziz Harun has impacted his life with what he does.
So it's funny because Aziz and I really used to hate each other. We both thought that there could be only one chubby, obnoxious kid around. But when Aziz and I eventually became friends, you'd always talk about music, he'd share stories behind certain songs, or why rappers were beefing, etc. And this itself changed my relationship with music as well. He would share his newest songs with me, and music that he was working on, and even encouraged me to perform more at school. We even came up with a trio called AAA.
He has a great
with
voice.
Our best friend Harun as well.
AAA.
We'd sit by the piano at lunchtimes and just jam, we'd freestyle, and come up with the most random improvised songs. And in all honesty, some were good and some were absolutely terrible. But it's really inspiring to see Aziz really going all out for his passion and seeing him evolve over the years. And it's really made me develop an immense respect for Aziz, because it's not an easy industry to be in, but he really shows that he is in his element and that it comes naturally to him. So I'd say it's his love for music that really bonded us together, and one of the reasons why we're like brothers to this day.
He's my brother, man. Ashraf's my brother.
Man.
It's crazy, you know, for my birthday, he'd compile all those recordings that we would have throughout the jam sessions through lunch.
Oh, wow.
So this was when I turned 18. I was at 19. He actually burnt a CD and made a mixtape of our recordings, and he gave it to me.
Wow.
And
you still
also,
have it?
I think I do somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, like how we, it's. I never really thought about that with Ashraf, like how I was always talking about music. I guess I just never realized. But he's always been so supportive.
Yeah.
Through everything, he's never changed a bit.
Yeah. We've got one last one. Okay. From a fellow YouTuber, goes by the name of Tifrush. So Tarwana
She called me, huh?
has this to say about you.
For me personally, AZIZ has allowed me to be brave because of the risk in doing what he does in the industry that he does and the level of success that he's achieved. It only comes from being brave and taking that step and being confident enough in your abilities and wanting to get to the next level. And AZIZ is a walking epitome of just working hard to make your dreams come true. And we are all, and I am specifically, very, very proud of him.
That was from your sister.
My sister, Kakak Tarwana.
And yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know what to say, man.
Because these are things that I think in front of, you, like, I think they would never really say to you, right? And 100%. I think the only way for you to know would be if they actually did this and they let you know, because I want you to know if there are ever days where you feel like you don't know if you're on the right track or if you're making the right moves or you don't feel like you have a squad behind you, there are at least, or that you're making an impact with what you do, there are at least 3 people here and 3 people in the studio who have your back 100%, who are super fans of what you do. Like, Aziz, if there was ever anything I could do to sort of help you get to another level or to be in a better place, I would drop everything and I'd do it in a heartbeat. And I just want you to know there are going to be days where, if there are days that you feel like that, I want you to remember this moment right here to remind yourself that, hey, there's at least 6 people right now who have your back and just supporting you unconditionally, my guy.
Thank you so much, bro.
No worries, man.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I didn't really expect that. I really needed it this week as well.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
It's been a long week.
So if we could sort of just bring things full circle here, Aziz. I don't know if you know, but my goal for this podcast is to be a database. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, someone who wants to be a singer like you, someone who wants to be a professional MMA fighter, someone who wants to open up their own barbershop.
Or be a magician.
Be a magician, I want this to be a database for them to sort of look back on, to take the advice that you've shared, to learn from the journey you've taken, to sort of, maybe take a more efficient route, to sort of learn from the mistakes that I've put out and stuff like that. So what is one thing for someone who has just started their journey, for someone who's thinking about starting their journey, for someone who might even be in the thick of things right now, not wondering if it feels like it's going to clear up anytime soon, what's one advice you could give them?
My favorite saying is, comparison is the thief of joy. So what I would tell people is to never compare yourself to others, because it would just distract you and you will lose focus of what you love, and always have a purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. So it's that's all you need. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Man, I can't wait to see the barriers you're going to crash. I can't wait to see the goals you're going to crush. All the zisters, all the zizzers are going to be behind you 100%, Aziz. And that's it, my guy. That is the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Brother.